What's going on, my peoples? Let's break down energy amplification, identity consciousness, and the consequences of growth. So we're touching on three very, very important topics today, especially when we talk about energy amplification, which comes from what was called identity consciousness, which causes some consequences from the expansion of growth. So number one is energy amplification. So energy is amplified when you bring 2, 3, or more people together that have verifying and corresponding innate attributes and characteristics. They vibe together. And so when we join people, or when you connect with someone who don't necessarily agrees with you, but they understand, and there is no conflicts, there is the ability to agree, to disagree, but then there's the ability to build. So energy is amplified. The Bible talks about where there's 2 or 3 gathered together in my name. I'm there in the midst of them. It talks about 1 can put 1,000 to flight, 2 can put 10,000 to flight. So when we're talking about give, and it shall be given. So whatever degree that you give, that same degree is given back to you. So energy is amplified when people come into agreement. If you go back to the Old Testament, remember at the Tower of Babel, they all was on one accord. They had one language, and there was nothing that they could not accomplish. So the ability to be on one accord, the ability to come together in unity. So this is unity consciousness. This is identity consciousness, which takes us to the second part of today's topic. Unity, identity consciousness. So unity consciousness, identity consciousness, Christ consciousness, oneness consciousness, singularity consciousness. These are all basically the same thing. What we're talking about is there is a consciousness. There is a awareness. There is a perception. There's the ability to see. There's the ability to perceive. So all of this leads to the ability to modify behavior. So behavior modification, again, this is pretty much all I do, is I assist people with modifying their behavior. Not that there's anything wrong with the current behavior, but it's just the ability for you to grow, to expand your consciousness, which leads to growth. Now there are consequences, number 3, to growth. So when you start growing, you're going to notice there's going to be some separation. You notice there's going to be some isolation. You notice that you're going to find yourself living in 2 realities. Just the same way a caterpillar changes into a butterfly. Where the butterfly party looks at the caterpillar, or the caterpillar looks at the butterfly. They both the same, they're just in different levels of awareness. And so it's difficult when you're growing, because growth really produces you find yourself, still being attached to the old while you want to embrace the new. So it's not that you are trying to isolate yourself. It's not that you're trying to speak different languages. It's not that you got different goals, but even though all of this is true, because what you find yourself is you, especially if you are a truthologist like myself, especially if you are a spiritual seeker of frequencies, waves, and vibrations that elevate your consciousness and your awareness, which simply means that you're not, which is the hardest thing for people to understand, that it talks about in Hebrews chapter 6, verse 1, 2, and 3. It tells us to leave certain things behind in order to go on to maturity. Man, that is the hardest thing in the world that I found, not only for myself, because you don't want to separate, because you like that, that sense of belonging. You like the sense of community, the sense of security that comes with being a part of a group of like-minded people seeking the deeper aspects of life and godliness. So you don't really want to lose that, man. You like being a part of a group of people who see the world the same way that you do. So there's nothing wrong with that. But it is when you deny your own authenticity for the sake, so you find yourself playing small. So you don't want to sacrifice your own personal growth, your own spiritual growth, just to be a part of a community and a part of a family. And so if you really are part of a family and a community, they will accept your expansion. They may not believe the same things that you believe, because we all are individuals. So we all got our own walk. So we all see the world the way differently. We all don't see the world the same. So we're not all supposed to agree. But we're supposed to create space. We're supposed to create an environment where everybody's allowed to agree to disagree. That's what belonging, identity, and security is all about when you create a community. And so when we're talking about, again, the consequences of growth, it simply means that there may come a time when there's people in, because I know I've created many groups over the years, and it's very interesting as people leave the group. A lot of times people feel they don't know how to leave. It's like, when the bird grows and the parents have to kick the bird out of the nest to make room for the new siblings, or like the lions have to run off the male lions so they can go out and start their own pride. They're not running them off because they don't like them. They're running them off because it's time to grow up. And so we're supposed to grow to maturity. And so people come and go not because somebody did something wrong. People come and go because of spiritual growth, financial growth, physical growth. So we all growing in different areas. And so if you can grow together, usually people that grow together stay together. And that's really the goal. The goal is to be able to grow together, especially when you're in relationships. You want to be able to move forward together, so that way people, you guys are experiencing the same things together, and that create that bond, that create that sense of community and belonging and security, because both parties are experiencing the same or similar things. But you can't hold yourself back, but at the same time it has to be a natural or authentic, because again, you don't necessarily have to leave anybody. They'll leave you when you get to a certain space or a certain place where somebody don't feel comfortable, because y'all have anything to talk about anymore. You don't have anything in common anymore. You don't like the same things. People start to do different things. So that the consequences of growth, man, people go through this, and a lot of times people have difficulty processing the separation and the isolation and the change of things that you used to hold valuable and dear to you. Now, those things is like, for me, man, I used to be married to football. I wouldn't miss a game all day Saturday, all day Sunday, man. I was going to be watching football. Now, if I can catch the game, great. If I don't, well, what happened? Well, I grew in consciousness. I grew in awareness. I still like football, but I don't like football more than my new level of awareness. There's things that have way more value than just watching my favorite football team. And so those things have replaced the old things of valuable. Now I got new things that hold more value. And we all grow at different times. We all grow at different speeds. We all process information differently. So no two people are the same. So we got to make room. And so it's very important that, number one, clarity leads to the ability for you to bring about and to amplify your own energy. So energy amplification comes from clarity of identification. So when you identify your true authentic self, when you see that you are a vessel of honor, that you are a store of value, and that's the definition of money. And so instead of going out and trying to find or make it, you realize you are it. So you want to exchange your value with someone else who has something of mutual value. Equal, the law of equal exchange. So I want to give something of equal value. So the first thing is energy amplification. The ability for you to see value in yourself. That comes from identity of the self. So my energy comes from my clarity. If you have no clarity, you have no energy. And so that's what I see. A lot of people don't have clarity of self. And so that's what, in order for you to modify, in order for you to expand your consciousness and grow, that requires clarity of self. So clarity, consciousness, and energy amplification, that leads to the third thing, which is growth. But growth has some side effects. So don't be afraid of the side effects of growth, man. Don't be afraid of, the consequences of growth. Sure, there are some huge consequences of growth. The growth is going to require the death of the old you. That's deep. True spiritual growth is going to require the death of the old you. The old you has to die. What does that mean, though? That just simply means like the old me. It's not like it was difficult because I outgrew the shell. Same way like a caterpillar they go through this transformation. The Bible says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So there should be growth. There should be transformation. There should be Hebrews chapter 6 verse 1. Let us go on. Let us go on. Let us go on. So we should all be going on to perfection. Not laying again the foundation. That's the whole point of behavior modification. Behavioral modification is going on to perfection. You're going from glory to glory to glory to glory. That's all. So my brothers and my sisters, I have a free resource available at my website at masterteacher33.com. That is the life management system. 7 modules for the life management system, which is an introduction to the 365-day 7 books, and I have it on my wall behind me and over here, that really delves even deeper, but to introduce you to this 7-step process of, number 1, identify the current habit pattern. Number 2, identify the new life-sustaining pattern. Number 3, bring about the switch from the old pattern to the new pattern. That's called behavior modification. Then number 4, wealth, establishing wealth creation. Number 5, health, establishing health. Number 6, wisdom, establishing your own. You have and you are an expert. You have your own niche. You gotta find it. That way you can fulfill it. So this is niche application and location. That's wisdom. And then last but not least, module number 7 has to do with relationship mastery. Being able to establish a relationship with yourself, with God, and with others. So those 7 modules make up what I call the life management system. And that system brings about a true transformation to take you from one level to the next. So check out the website, masterteacher33.com. Then also check out the Wealth Creation Mastermind group, where you're able to go and you start with tier 1, tier 2, and then tier 3, which is all a part of the life management system as well. Man, I love you. I appreciate you. We're going to see you guys at the top. Remember, crystal clear clarity of the self creates the amplification of the self. That clarity leads to the energy, and the energy leads to growth. And that growth has consequences, but it also has success. I love you. See you at the top. God bless.